Today, we're diving into a powerful tactic that will significantly boost your sales team's performance, building the confidence of your salespeople through role playing. Yeah, that's sometimes a dreaded word, but let's get into it. I hope today to make you a lot more comfortable with it. So, as a sales manager, one of your key responsibilities is to ensure your team feels confident and prepared to tackle any sales scenario. Confidence is the cornerstone of success in sales. You know that. Without it, even the most skilled salespeople can struggle to close deals. That phone can weigh 900 pounds. And sometimes they lose that strong client relationship. So, in this program today, you'll learn the importance of role playing. If you haven't considered it, this is going to be an excellent tool to put in your toolbox. I want to make you more comfortable in how to do it, why to do it, when to do it, who all should be doing it. But it's super important. And we're going to explore why role playing is an essential tool for developing your team skills and boosting confidence. You'll see how simulating real life sales situations can help your salespeople practice their responses, be confident in knowing what they're going to say when it comes up, refine their techniques, and become more comfortable in handling those dreaded objections. We're going to be talking about how to build more confidence. We'll discuss strategies for creating a supportive and encouraging environment during role-playing sessions. You'll learn how to provide constructive feedback, celebrate successes, and help your team members build the self-assurance that they need to excel. And we're also going to talk about effective role-playing techniques. We'll cover various role-playing scenarios and methods that you can implement with your team easily. From mock sales calls to handling difficult clients, you'll gain practical insights on how to make these exercises as realistic and beneficial as possible. And by the end of this tactic, you'll have a deeper understanding of how to use role plays to empower your sales team. You'll be equipped with the tools, the techniques to build their confidence, improve their skills, and ultimately drive better sales results. So let's get started. Let's get started on this journey to becoming a more effective and inspiring sales manager. Because let's face it, your team's success begins with your confidence. And it's your confidence that's going to help them build their confidence. We're going to help build your confidence today. The value of role playing in sales training is a dynamic and practical approach. And by implementing regular role playing sessions, sales managers will create a structured yet flexible platform for their team to practice and refine various sales techniques and responses in these real world scenarios. Also, little secret here, using role plays allows sales managers, you, to directly observe and evaluate your salespeople's skill sets in real time or simulated scenarios. Often I've found through the years that salespeople believe they are executing techniques correctly. They can't figure out why this doesn't work. I do it exactly how I'm supposed to, but in a role play, it gets uncovered. It gets revealed. And you'll see the clear gaps in their skills and knowledge. And it's only once you understand it that you can help coach them to a better approach and outcome. By seeing and hearing their performance, you as a sales manager can identify the specific areas that they need improvement in and tailor your coaching to address this shortcoming. And by being very hands-on, this hands-on approach enables you as a sales manager to provide targeted feedback and guidance. Not generalized. That's sometimes what trips us up, is being too broad and generalized. This is very specific, and help your salespeople develop these higher level skill sets that in turn will absolutely improve their results. So here's how integrating role play can make a substantial impact on your team's performance, effectiveness, confidence. Let me start. This is a reality that many people, you included, almost always your sales team members feel very uncomfortable with role playing. Let's just get that gorilla introduced here in the room. That alone is what keeps many sales managers by practicing this technique, is this discomfort. You may have it, certainly your team's going to have it. They're going to avoid it like a virus. They sense this embarrassment. They're going to feel embarrassed. They're going to fear judgment, especially if you're doing it with their peers. And to overcome this fear, start by creating a supportive and non-judgmental environment where mistakes are okay. And they're seen as learning opportunities. And you've got to strongly encourage participation. Get them into it. And let them understand some clear objectives. And then provide them with positive, encouraging reinforcement. And as you continue to get them involved in doing this, comfortable with role playing, you can gradually increase the complexity of the scenarios to build the comfort and familiarity with whatever's going on with them. And with time, as anything we practice, with consistent practice, but it has to be deliberate practice, you're going to boost confidence in yourself. You're going to get revealed some shortcomings, so you'll have a better approach angle. And for sure, the more they do it the right way, the more likely they are to do it the right way. It'll just become second nature. It's an amazing tool, one of the most powerful things I'll ever talk to you about, but yet it is rarely ever utilized. And in the end, your sales team will not only become more adept at handling real life situations, but also begin to look forward to role-playing sessions, having done hundreds and hundreds of these. I've watched this gradual increase in acceptance and confidence and willingness to perform role plays with their peers, with you. And often they'll end up requesting to do them to prepare themselves for a customer. They'll come running in and say, okay, boss, let me run through this. Help me get ready for this. It's an amazing sign. And let me tell you, when you've got them role-playing with each other, role-playing with you, that this just becomes part of your culture, you've got it licked, my friend. You've got it licked. So let's talk about first how to prepare. You can't go into it cold. You actually have to have a plan, Stan. So start by identifying some objectives. Identify some goals. Share with the team or share with the individual the goal of this role play. Handling objections, closing a sale, building rapport, breaking the ice, trade show scenarios, difficult customer scenarios. They're limitless. And so as a sales manager, you need to create a scenario based on a recent customer interaction, but it needs to be realistic, somewhat challenging, but tell them this is the scenario. Tell them what the scenario is, detail the customer's profile, tell them who they're dealing with, what that customer's needs are potentially, and throw in there some of the hurdles that they may encounter during this sales process. Make it real, but not too hard. Don't make it crazy. We're warming them up to this. And if you're doing it with the sales team, your sales team members can take turns playing both the salesperson and the customer role. Or if it's just you and a salesperson, you can rotate with them, playing salesperson or customer. And this helps your team create a well-rounded perspective. And this allows each team member to understand both sides of the conversation. But please create realistic scenarios. In the beginning, make sure they're common, slightly challenging, but not over the top hard, but things they're really going to encounter. And then set clear rules. Establish the guidelines for role playing, such as how long we're going to do it, time limits, specific roles, who's going to do what. Emphasize that no one is allowed to escape the role play, because there's going to be somebody that all of a sudden has an important phone call. And they also will say, yeah, I got this. I just need to practice this myself. No. They must see it through to the end. Don't let them off the hook. This is tough love, friends. Also, this is an interesting phenomenon. They're going to need multiple attempts. One and done never happens. Don't let them off the hook after one. They need to do it over and over and over again until they get it right. It needs to be very deliberate practice. It needs to be planned practice, and it needs to have some level of accomplishment and achievement during the course of the role play. So ensure each salesperson performs the role play multiple times. Here's the phenomenon. The first attempt is usually pretty rough. They'll suck. The second, you're going to see some improvement. And it's amazing how by the time they get to the third one, they're getting pretty close to the approach that's needed. You'll see it happen pretty quickly. They may need a fourth or a fifth time, but generally by the third time, they pretty much have it dialed in. And then encourage participation. Make sure that nobody, especially your best salespeople, are left out of this. Involve everybody. Involve all your team members in the session if you're doing it as a team, either as a participant, as a customer, but everybody gets to play both roles. Everybody in the pool. Now let's talk about some techniques that are important. Technique number one, consistency. It's key. And once you get into regular role-playing sessions, this builds comfort and competence. Back in the old days, we did role plays every single day. We started the day with role plays. Every sales meeting was a role play. Every coaching session was a role play. It was just part of our DNA. So as a technique, it needs to be consistent. You need to be persistent. Don't let participants off the hook again. Encourage them. Sometimes you have to be a little more forceful. Encourage them to push through their discomfort. It's only through that they're going to develop their skills. And then it's repeat and refine. Repetition helps reinforce learning. Each role play should build on the previous one. And they're going to keep getting better and better, refining their techniques, improving their strategies, and becoming much more comfortable, second nature to them. And we need to talk about feedback. Here's some feedback best practices. Never give them direct feedback. Use open-ended questions. Evoke self-discovery and self-correction by asking questions like, how did you feel about that? How do you think that went? What would you have done differently? How would you have improved that? What do you think you did best? How do you handle the customer's objection? What else could you have done? Anybody else have any suggestions? Open-ended. Have them discover themselves. You'll be amazed at how tough they are on themselves. Probably tougher than you would be. So you want to guide self-assessments. Avoid telling your participants what they did wrong. Please don't say, okay, Al, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you hear yourself? You're supposed to do it like this. Please, God, don't do that. Ask those open-ended, encouraging, just guide them through their own assessment. You want to help them identify the areas for improvement. Be reflective. And then again, if you're doing it with their peers, you're doing it as a group, encourage that peer feedback. Create a culture where team members provide constructive feedback to each other. It's probably the most valued of the feedback they're going to get. They value the feedback from their peers much more than they do from you. Once you become a sales manager, you know nothing about selling. The people doing it every day know everything about selling. So that peer feedback, although you may be the greatest expert in the world on selling, you're not one of them anymore. So peer feedback, really essential, very valuable. And if you've got multiple people giving them feedback, they're getting different perspectives, different ideas, different approaches, and they can choose which one suits them best. And then please, from a technique standpoint, balance your feedback. It needs to include both positive and areas for improvement. But under all, you have to be encouraging. We're working on confidence here, not just making them feel good. Be transparent, but be encouraging, but don't let them off the hook. They can always do it a little better, and they'll tell you so. They'll tell you themselves. Now, here are some best practices for engaging your team members in role play. It's up to you to foster a supportive environment. You're the most important cog to all this. Make it clear the purpose of the role play is about growth and learning, not about criticism. It's not a gotcha. And it's really important that you walk the talk, role model it yourself, demonstrate how to give constructive feedback, lead by example. And always remember, one of my favorite things to share with people is the 4 tenets of teaching. This is how we learn the 4 tenets of teaching. Tell them, show them, have them do it, and provide feedback. So you want to start by putting yourself as the salesperson. One of them can be the customer. Show them yourself how to model the situation, how to use the proper techniques, just like you've trained them. And then encourage participation. Ask your team members to share their observations and suggestions on you. I'm pretty sure you're going to be really good at this, but it sets the tone. And it not only helps the individual who is going to go into the ring first, that you're willing to do what you're asking them to do. And then, and only then, will you be able to start reinforcing how key this learning is to them. And then please encourage your team members, the peers of this group, to provide the feedback. Draw it out of them, ask open-ended questions. What were your thoughts? How would you do that different? When would you do that? Debrief together. Every role play at the end must have a debrief session. So facilitate a group discussion if you're in a group to review what's learned, what the key takeaways are, and how they're going to apply this to a future scenario. So follow those key steps and best practices, and you as a sales manager will create effective role play sessions that build confidence, improve sales, improve skills, and foster a collaborative and supporting team environment. So here's some of the things I hope you take away from this. Regular role-playing sessions that mimic challenging but realistic sales scenarios. By doing that, you're going to help your salespeople practice and improve their pitching and their negotiation skills in a low risk environment. You don't want them practicing on your customers. You want them practicing on you or their peers, so that by the time they're working with a real customer, a live customer, they've got that confidence dialed in. They feel like they can handle any situation. So remember, when implementing role-playing sessions, schedule them, know what you're going to be talking about, tailor it to a current need, make it a common challenge. And it could be ranged from just about anything that I mentioned before: an initial customer inquiry, a prospect call, managing objections, closing the sales, all those things. Could be a range of things. Don't just make it on the same thing over and over again. And in the end, your takeaway should be the benefits of role playing. Is this practical experience builds confidence, but you're building this confidence in a controlled environment. It's invaluable because it allows for trial and error without the risk of losing a real customer. Again, you don't want them practicing on your customers. Practice with each other or you. And then this gives them the ability to experiment with different approaches. It's one thing when they're taking this approach in their head, and it's another thing entirely when they're saying it. It's humbling sometimes. So by doing this in a controlled environment, they'll figure out what works best for them. And it's going to create enhanced communication skills. Regular role plays improve verbal and nonverbal communication skills. If you're taking one of my sales training classes, we're going to talk about the importance of both. What your face looks like, what your hands look like. Match and mirror. And as they switch roles from salesperson to customer, they're going to learn to better read customer cues, to adapt their sales strategy according to that kind of disc profile. Maybe a high C on a disc profile is going to be a very different customer than a high I. One's going to be much more difficult than the other. And if you keep doing this, key takeaway: confidence, confidence, confidence. Because they're going to be prepared in real life to handle these situations. Work on your feedback. It's that feedback that's going to create the improvement, but it has to be welcome feedback, safe feedback, encouraging feedback. This feedback loop promotes continuous learning. And when I'm learning, I'm improving. And it's invaluable, the collaboration and support that their fellow sales team members can offer them. When you've created this role-playing culture, this collaborative role-playing culture in a supportive team environment, it's magic how the fire will get started, where they're sharing insights and tips and oh man, you got to try it this way. This is really working for me. Or they'll be watching each other and say, oh, role play what you just did with me. It's amazing. I love it. These lights that are coming on, boy, will you see the improvement in their results. So schedule them regularly. It should be part of every one-on-one, should be part of every sales team meeting. Incorporate it. Do it. The more you do it, the more comfortable they're going to be with it. Make sure you're creating diverse scenarios. Guide your feedback through open-ended questions. Have the group share their feedback. Set the ground rules. Another thing I should have mentioned earlier is not many people do this. This is how I learned a long time ago, is somebody recorded me. When I watched myself on camera, I could really see my stupid accent, how aggressive I could appear from times to times. So occasionally, if you want to, I encourage you, videotape it. Every location back in the day had a video camera, that we, and a good video camera, so that Sales team members could watch themselves. They can watch body language, tone, some of those subtle things that they need to recognize to improve their outcomes. Role playing is the most effective method for developing skill sets. When I develop my skill set, I'm going to boost my confidence. And I'm also, the byproduct of doing it in a peer environment is I'm going to improve the team dynamic. Simply allows salespeople to engage in realistic sales dialogues, get constructive feedback, refine their approach. And if you make role playing a regular part of your sales training, meetings, one-on-ones, your team's just going to be better equipped. So let me wrap this up. Role playing for sales managers, single most important tool you're going to have in your box. I've talked about it a lot during this series. This one thing, get your arms around it. If you're uncomfortable with it, face that discomfort. You'll find that it is so valuable. So thank you for listening and joining in with me today. Our focus was on utilizing role play exercises to boost confidence. But most importantly, you need to have the practical skills. It is a sales management, sales leadership skill to properly conduct role plays. And moving forward, continue to practice it yourself and on them. Make it regular. Implement the feedback that you get, they get. Watch for it, catch them doing it right. Creating this culture of a continuous improvement. Then enjoy their outcomes. They're going to get better. We're so excited to see how you implement these strategies in your daily interactions with your team and with their customers. Keep that momentum going. And remember, your growth as a leader is integral to your team's success. The transformational triangle of change. It starts with you. Thank you once again for your commitment, your interest, your enthusiasm. And let's continue to build this foundation and achieve great results together. Now get after it.